Most people are still using ChatGPT, like they open a new chat, they type a question, they copy the answer, and then they leave. But ChatGPT has changed a lot. It's no longer just a chatbot. Now you have a chat, now you have work, you have project, you have deep research, you can connect your apps, and you can even schedule ChatGPT to come back and do something for you later. The problem is that once you have all of these features, another question comes up. When exactly should I use each one? So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the ChatGPT web interface, show you the features that actually matter, and most importantly, show you how you would combine them into one real workflow. By the end of this video, you should stop thinking of ChatGPT as just somewhere you go to ask questions. You should start thinking about it as a workspace. Before we start clicking around, I want you to remember this. There are 6 things I normally want AI to help me do: think, research, organize, execute, connect, and automate. And different parts of ChatGPT are better in different jobs. Chat is where I think. Deep research is where I investigate. Projects are where I organize ongoing work. Work is where I want ChatGPT to actually produce something. Connected apps give ChatGPT access to information I already have. And scheduled tasks allow ChatGPT to work proactively. Once you understand that, the interface starts making much more sense. Let's start with this part everyone already knows, which is the chat. But I want to show you a slightly different way to use it. Instead of treating ChatGPT like Google and asking isolated questions like use ChatGPT when you want to think through something interactively, let's say I want to create an online course about AI automation. Instead of typing, create an AI automation course. Am I prompted better? Instead of just creating this, well, it created something detailed for me because it has known so much about me. But I wanted to, see that just saying this, makes it just start working. But I wanted to have more context. And with that, I will ask it further and say something like, I want to create an AI automation course for beginners. Help me figure out who the ideal audience is, what problems they are trying to solve, and what would make this course different from other AI courses. Now, I'm not asking ChatGPT to produce the final thing yet. I'm thinking with it. And once it responds, I can continue the conversation. I might say, I want this specifically for professionals and small business owners who want to automate repetitive work without becoming developers. Refine the positioning. What would be the strongest promise for this course? Give me 3 possible course structure. This is where ChatGPT becomes really useful. You don't necessarily need one giant perfect prompt. You can start with your idea and refine it through conversation. This is one of the biggest mindset shifts I would recommend when using ChatGPT. Use chat when the problem is still fuzzy, when you are still deciding, when you want feedback, when you want to brainstorm, when you want an explanation, or when you want to troubleshoot something interactively. So I think of chat as help me think. Then the ChatGPT work help me finish. Now let's think about something much newer and something I think a lot of people are going to misunderstand. ChatGPT work is where the distinction becomes important. In chat, I might say help me think through a launch strategy, but in work, my mindset changes. I'm not necessarily asking what do you think I should do. I'm saying here is the outcome, go produce it. Let's use the same course explanation or the same course example. We already used chat to figure out the audience and positioning. Now, imagine I actually need the materials. This is where I will use work. I might give work an instruction like, using the AI automation course idea we developed, create a complete launch package. Develop the course positioning, launch timeline, content plan, competitor research, promotional strategy, and final launch checklist. Create the supporting document and organize the output so it can actually be used. Notice how different that request is. I'm not looking for another conversation. I want an outcome. This is the simplest way I can explain the difference between chat. So chat and work. Chat is conversational. Work is execution oriented. And this becomes especially useful when your task has multiple steps. Maybe you need research, then analysis, then a document, then a spreadsheet, then a presentation. Instead of manually doing each step yourself, you can give ChatGPT the broader outcome. So whenever I'm deciding between chat and work, I ask myself one question. Am I trying to figure something out, or am I trying to get something finished? If I am figuring it out, then chat. If I already understand the goal and I want the deliverable, I will use ChatGPT work. Here is another problem. You start using ChatGPT for real work and suddenly you have this 27 different chats, one called AI course, another called course idea, another called new course structure, another launch plan updated, and eventually you cannot remember where anything is. This is where projects becomes useful. Let me create a project. You come here, you see where projects are listed. You hover here, you will see create project, and once you click on this, you are able to give it a name. I will call this AI automation course. Instead of treating every conversation as completely separate, I can keep the work associated with this project together. I can have research, I can have scripts, marketing ideas, file, launch planning, and ongoing conversations, all related to this same objective. And I can also give the project its own instruction. For instance, this project is for creating an AI automation course for professionals and small business owners. Keep explanation beginner friendly, practical, and focus on real world workflows rather than AI theory. Now, when I work inside the project, I don't have to explain the same context every single time. This is one of the biggest upgrades you can make to your ChatGPT workflow. Stop creating random chats for work that you know is going to continue. You create a project. The way I think about it is a chat is a conversation, a project is a workspace. So if you're doing something that lasts more than one session, like building a business, learning something new, working on a certification, planning content, planning or building software, researching a topic, you're writing a book, planning a trip, put it inside a project. Now we'll go back to going back to chat. That's where we'll see the next thing we need to talk about, which is deep research. If you click on this plus sign, you will see deep research. Now let's say I want to know whether this course idea is actually good. This is where I might use deep research. There is an important difference between asking ChatGPT a question and asking ChatGPT to research something. If I ask, what are some trends in AI automation, I can get a quick answer. But if I need something that will influence a real business decision, I might want deep research. So I could ask, research the current AI automation education marketing for professionals and small business owners. Identify major competitors, major cost topics, pricing approaches, target audiences, customer pain points, and potential gaps in the market using credible sources, and provide citation. Now, ChatGPT can go much deeper into the problem, and this is where people sometimes overuse deep research. You do not need deep research for every question. If I want to ask what is Kubernetes, I probably do not need a full research task. If I ask what are the major changes in Kubernetes ecosystem that a platform engineering team should prepare for over the next year, now research or deep research might make much sense. So my rule is use normal chat for answer. Use deep research when the source and evidence matter. While this is running, we will talk about settings and plugins, connected apps on ChatGPT. Now, this is where ChatGPT starts becoming much more useful for real work. Most of your useful information probably does not live inside ChatGPT. It lives in places like Google Drive, your email, your calendar, your documents, your business tools, your notes. So instead of constantly downloading something, uploading it to ChatGPT, or even taking screenshots, asking a question, downloading another file and repeating the process, you can connect supported services. Let's say Google Drive as an example. If my course research, previous notes, and documents already live in Drive, I want ChatGPT to be able to work with those resources instead of making me manually upload everything again. And this creates another big shift. A lot of people think getting better results from AI is always about writing a better prompt. Sometimes the problem is not your prompt. The problem is that the AI does not have enough context. The prompt can be excellent, but ChatGPT does not know your business, your document. It doesn't know your previous decisions or your existing work. The answer will naturally be more generic. So remember this: better prompts help, but better context can help even more. So here are examples of the tools you can connect it to. You can connect it to GitHub, to your Gmail, to your Google Drive. There are so many tools you can connect it to. If you have your notes in Notion, you can connect it to it. If you have your code in GitHub, you can connect it to it. If you wanted to do some things that are code related, it's already connected, so it can already pull those things. Now let's talk about one of my favorite ideas: using ChatGPT without needing to remember to open ChatGPT. Suppose I create an AI content every week. Normally I might come here every few days and say, what new AI feature were announced this week? Then next week I have to remember to do it again. Instead, I can create a scheduled task, something like every week. Let's create one. Here I can say every week, check for meaningful new ChatGPT feature and tell me if something important was released that would be worth creating content about. Now, ChatGPT can perform that check for me. Another one could be every Friday, summarize the 5 most important developments in AI automation from the week, or every month remind me to review my business subscriptions. Check periodically and notify me when a particular condition changes. This is where ChatGPT starts moving from being reactive, where I always have to initiate the conversation, to being proactive. So let me bring everything together. Imagine I want to launch my AI automation course. I start in chat, help me figure out who this course is for and what problem it should solve. Then I have the idea. I use deep research the market, my competitors, and opportunities. Then I create a project called AI Automation Course. That becomes the home for the work. Then I use work, create the course launch, plan, content, calendar, promotional materials, and supporting documents. Then I connect my existing resources so ChatGPT has access to the context I already created. And finally, I create a scheduled task every week, monitor major AI automation developments that could affect this course and surface anything important. Now look at what happened. I didn't just ask ChatGPT a question, I created a system. I think that is the direction people should start moving towards. Before you leave, here are things I want you to remember. Number 1, do not create a new chart for everything. If the work is ongoing, create a project. Number 2, do not use deep research for simple questions. Use it when evidence, sources, and deeper investigation actually matter. Number 3, know the difference between thinking and execution. Chat when you want to think, work when you want an outcome. Number 4, give ChatGPT context, connect your information, and organize your work instead of expecting one magical prompt to solve everything. And number 5, automate repetitive interaction. If you find yourself asking ChatGPT the same thing every Monday, Friday, or month, this is probably something you should schedule. ChatGPT is becoming much more than a place where you type prompts and think the people who get the most value from it are going to be the people who understands how to build workflows around those different capabilities. So instead of thinking, what prompt should I type? Start thinking, what am I trying to accomplish? What part of ChatGPT is best for that job? So if you found this useful, subscribe, because I will continue to break down new AI tools and show you how to actually use them in real workflows. And if you want to go deeper into AI, automation, and practical workflows, you can also join my school community. I will leave the link in my description, and I will see you in my next video.